Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I was getting ready to make some should say, clusters that I saw by Louise Heinzel. And I realized I needed some little pieces like numbers and just little bits to put on those clusters. And I had nothing. So I didn't want to waste a new piece of tea-dyed paper. And I really didn't have that many scraps left. Looked down and saw my junk mail envelopes that had been tea-dyed, and they were really torn apart. I wasn't going to be able to make anything out of the picture because through the tea dyeing process, the flaps and things had come loose. So I just started making these, just stamping on it. And while doing that, I realized all the things you get just from the way it is to begin with, like the things that are stamped on the envelope, you know, these numbers and the little postage thing and the postage up here. Here's one that's got, you know, a lot of numbers on it that could be used individually, you know, to do this kind of thing. So that's what I did. I just disassembled one and made lots and lots of pieces. I am not going to tea dye right now. Don't have any tea. And I didn't really want to use coffee, so I thought, you know, what could I use to color my paper? There are so many things. I mean, you can use watercolor pencils, distress inks, distress ink pads, the sprays, the pads, everything. But what I did, I took these markers, and we're in my little bucket here. All of these came from the Dollar Tree. These are just regular markers. I don't even know. These are metallic markers. Just a Sharpie. And I had a piece of paper, had a piece of acetate here. And I just scribbled on it with these colors. Just pick one, just like this. And then I sprayed it with water. Took my finger and kind of mushed it around where it didn't look like marks, you know. And then just smushed it on my envelope just to give it some color. And I did that with all of the different ones. I just took my envelope, opened it up, took out this piece, and then just start smushing and stamping. And I like all these pieces on the edge because they give it a really, when it's inked, it gives it a really grungy look like this one. So those are good pieces. But that's how I did this envelope. I just took these markers on acetate and made smudges. So now I'm just going to stamp on it. And again, I know not everybody has stamps, so I did some that have my handwriting, and then I thought it was too perfect looking. I made my numbers too perfect. It would really be good if you had an ink pen that was about to run out so that your numbers were just kind of half there, you know, like they were faded over time. So I just wrote some numbers on paper with a gel pen. This one I did that, and I also took a watercolor pencil and just made marks. You can make designs, anything. You don't have to have stamps. It's just easier with the stamps. Faster for me. Plus, I don't have good handwriting, so... And that's good too, I guess. But I mean, you wouldn't even have to draw numbers. Like, you could just do random words, like you were writing something, just to give it, you know, background, you know. And then you could, that piece right there could be the side of a tab that I'm going to build, you know, the clusters, that right there. And I know it looks kind of crazy, but when you blend it in with everything else, it makes a really cool ephemera piece. If you don't have stamps, you can always just make marks. I'm going to get my stick glue out here because my stamps aren't sticking to my little stamp pads very well. And I'm just going to random stamp some numbers. I like to do some that are full like that to give contrast to the ones that are more clear. These are just some dates and numbers. Doesn't matter how you do it because we're just going to tear it. And, you know, you can obviously use the same date in more spots than one because we're not going to use all the pieces in the same journal. This is, I don't know what this one is, but we're going to stamp it. I'm going to stamp it by this bar. That'll give maybe not so dark. There, like that. See, now that right there is going to be a good piece with the barcode and the number. That's a nice piece of ephemera. And then I just tore them, inked around them. Let's see how many pieces I can get out of this. So we're going to count this as one because I will use this. So I'm just going to continue stamping the rest of the envelope and tearing it into bits. And then there are some pieces that I cut out with the 1-inch circle punch, the number 52. Okay, so this little pile of trash here looks like trash. I counted and there's over 50 pieces. And this is what I didn't use and can use. I mean, if you were really particular and adamant that you want to use every little bit, you could still use those as well. And I will ink around these and they are going to be beautiful. I know it just looks like a pile of trash with numbers on it right now. You say, well, that's great. That's wonderful. You did that. What are you going to do with it? I'll show you. Let's just take this number, for example. And I'm going to ink around it. Grunge it up. We'll take this one too. And I like this one. It has a lot of rough edges on it. And maybe this little bitty one will do him too. Okay, so we've got those 3. I'll stamp these or stencil these at another time. Or not stencil, ink around them at a different time. Can't stop myself. I'm take one of these words. All right, so I've got what, 4 or 5 pieces here. I can show you what I will do with them. So, you know, we've been making a lot of ephemera lately, and I love that. And, you know, they were really simple, basic pieces like this. You can, I mean, just something as simple as gluing to one of these pages, you know, like this. It makes it look so much prettier. I would do something like that. I would take some of these clusters that we made, and, I mean, even putting the little number in the middle of the cluster makes it look better. I'm going to do that, actually. I'm going to glue that on right now. So basically you're just stepping it up a notch. And that's what it's kind of all about, isn't it? The details and the making it look just a little bit better. Like the detail in that you took an extra little second and did that. I love it. And that's what I would do. I would take some of these tags that, you know, and I would put in there. And then I had printed some pictures, digitals, and just like that. That would look so pretty. Just adding that on there. Doesn't that look good? Or to this one. And then you have a whole piece just like that. I printed some digitals and then I also backed them like this. I think that looks neat. Also, wouldn't that look cool? Just to have that number on there. It adds something to it, I think. And then another thing I was working on was some of these grungy flowers and add to the center. Some of them I just stapled, and there's, you know, say there wasn't a Brad here, and you just add that. Doesn't that look cool? This one doesn't have anything in the center. And I would add, maybe add this piece. Depending on the book, that if you were using a colored book, that's a really pretty piece. I probably would just add one of these that don't have much color to it, just to keep it neutral. and I would do something like that. And I think that looks really good. I love these grungy flowers. Aren't they cool? And I used buttons and brads that I also distressed with alcohol inks. If anyone's interested in any of those items, this button was white and I used alcohol ink and changed that. I thought that looked really cool. Same with, I can't find it now. I had a little pearl button. I can't find it. But anyway, it turned out really pretty too. So it's just, I think, taking the extra time to do these little things to be able to add to your clusters that make them so, so pretty. And then, of course, you know, I always have all this string that I keep from sewing. Just take a cluster of that, put your number down on it, maybe a piece of muslin. There's my other pearl. See, that one was white. Isn't that pretty? I don't know if you can tell the color. It almost looks like marble now. So as I was saying, take your string and your number and put it on a piece of muslin. And how cool is that? Just as a cluster to stick on a page or on a pocket to decorate up, stick it on top of a tag, something like this. How neat is that? And it takes no time, and you get all these pieces from stuff that you probably get in the mail every day. Anyway, the actual tutorial was supposed to be about the side clusters and other things, but as I was trying to gather things to make those, I realized I didn't really have any of these kinds of things, and these were super easy. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you'll try it, or not try it, you can do it. I hope you will make some of these because they really are a nice addition to all the clusters, embellishments, and it's, you know, things like this I think that make our little tags and things extra special. To me, that, I mean, that just that little piece, I love it. I also cut out some circles, made some numbers like that, you know, the other day on the last video, and used them on ball pens, things like that. That was kind of neat. Also, where your envelope folds, you have such a nice good fold there. Just cut all the way down. You have, keep that one full strip, and you can make 3 or 4 of these side tabs right there, and then all your other pieces will be ephemera to put on it. I also made, out of that first one, I made like to go on the side of a page. So even if you didn't add any more to it, you've got this, and then the other side has this kind of, it's just a nice addition to your page, and it's just stamped. And that is, again, the fold of the envelope. Didn't have to do much to that. Back to this one, if you put it on the edge of a page, added a couple pieces, maybe one of your circles, piece of lace. It's kind of hard to tell because my paper is also grunged up, but it's just, you know, things like that you can stack and keep building on it and make such a cool piece of ephemera for the side of your page. Or even, I can't find, what I was looking for was a piece of the burlap to add as well, but you could even add, you know, your flower at the top or at the bottom, and this piece goes onto a page. If this were your page, something like that. That's a lot, I guess, but you see what I'm doing with that. Something like that. And then maybe a couple of your little pieces just to make a really cool cluster for the side of your page. Didn't help that I had this. This is some of that photo paper that I distressed and done things to make these vintage photos look even more vintage. These prints are, I don't know, I linked the video, or sorry, the Etsy shop in the last video. These are more of those prints. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope you didn't think it was a waste of time, and I hope it's something that you will try. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I think you'll find in the next few videos the ephemera and things that we're creating can all be linked together. It's like buying 3 new outfits, but you can interchange them and make 10. You know, that's the kind of ephemera I think that we're creating right now. Things that can go with anything, go in most any journal, and you can keep layering and it just keeps adding and getting better. So thanks for joining me today. Hope you got some inspiration from this. And I will see you next time. Thanks again, guys. Bye.